Hello everybody, it's me, it's PokemonTripHD, and welcome back to some more Dragalia Lost content. In today's video, we're going to be discussing the brand new Nightmare Mode and the facility event, of course, Part 2 Summer Facility Event, A Crescendo of Courage. This facility event, of course, Nightmare was not actually a thing until this facility event. We never had a Nightmare, at least in the facility event. You know, we had them in raid events, just not facility events. This is the first time there's a facility event with Nightmare, and actually it's not that difficult. Kind of disappointing, to be honest. I was really looking forward to this, looking forward to a good challenge, but it's unfortunately not. I feel like they're really custom, well, not custom, but like they're making these a little bit easier than they probably should be, mainly for the newer players, because of course, summer event, they're going to be getting newer players with the summer event, so that's what I feel like they're doing. But anyways, I do want to talk about this first clear that's going to be shown on screen right now. This clear was done by a friend of mine, Cookies. If you want to check out his channel, I'll leave the link down in the description below. As well as I'm talking about the description below, I'm also going to leave a link to the $10 giveaway in the description below. Of course, it's a free giveaway, so if you do want to enter that, it's going to be there. But anyways, let's discuss what Nightmare is. So if you don't know what Nightmare is, you do need a lot of might to actually challenge Nightmare. I think you need 20k might just to challenge Nightmare. So first and foremost, you need 20k might to challenge it, meaning that if you have 20k might, you're probably not going to have too much trouble getting this clear, honestly. You know, if you have 20k might, that means you have a pretty good team already. So I feel like most people who can challenge Nightmare have probably already beaten Nightmare. So this video is kind of going to be for the players who are maybe just getting 20k war might or a little bit newer. So I'm just going to give my tips on how you can get the clear. Again, this first clear is an Alphonse solo, which not everyone can do. This is, of course, max and binded weapons, you know, optimized everything. I do believe the facility event Cookies using this was not a level 30. I believe it was level like 26 or something, somewhere around there. Of course, he'll probably have everything in the description or something of his video. So, yeah, that's going to be the main thing. Of course, the biggest tip I have for this is you want to upgrade your facility. You do get a facility just for playing this event. You want to upgrade that facility to level 30 because as you upgrade it, you deal more damage to enemies in this quest as you use, you know, light units. So, I do recommend you upgrade that to 30. If you can't get the clear when your facility is level like 25 or something, that means you got to upgrade it a little bit more and aim for level 30. Another big thing to note is that the grand bounty for this is a random selection of rewards. It's just like the raid events. It's randomized, but you're guaranteed, I believe you're guaranteed 1 grain, and then the other option is between a golden fragment, a sunlight ore, and a Damascus crystal, and then the final option is between clovers, succulent dragon fruits, or eldwater. So it's randomized, so you get 3 rewards. I think it used to only be 2, but now it's 3 rewards. It's really nice. But yeah, also you don't need to optimize your playstyle or everything in this game. You just need to optimize it. So we don't need to optimize anything, to be honest, if you have a good enough team. You just need to survive as well as deal a bunch of DPS. So of course I will have teams being shown as soon as this clear is done. It should be done soon. Showing the thing. Now, of course, Grand Bounty, you only get it once per day. You are going to want to clear this once per day for the remaining week or so that the event is going to be up. So, like I said, you just want to clear it once per day. There's really no point running it other than that one time per day because you only get your Grand Bounty once per day. So you might as well just do it once per day. There's no higher drop rates or anything as far as I know, at least. So only do Nightmare Mode once a day. Now then, this clear should finally be done so I can actually begin discussing the team that I use. So the team that I use is right here. This team is Alphonse, Ryozan, Floor, and Estelle. Actually, I didn't use this. I believe I used the Heroes Arrive print instead of that one. So this was the team that I used. And yeah, this is a pretty good team in my opinion, but at the same time, of course, I tried making things as budget as possible so that you guys can kind of recreate this team if you would like. Now, of course, I've been playing since the Fae event, which is where Alphonse comes from, and as well as the Heroes Arrive worm print. So this worm print is very, very good. Of course, this is not my max and binding copy. I do have a max and binding copy on someone else on the team, but Heroes Arrive worm print, basically, I might as well show up the max and binding copy. I believe this one is it. So the Heroes Arrive worm print is amazing for facility events because you get Slayer strength plus 6%, meaning that you can increase the strength of your unit by up to 30% for the entire quest. That's a permanent strength buff for that quest. So it's really, really good. If you have any Slayer strength prints or Striker strength prints, those are very good to use for this event, as well as having healing double buff, which helps for survivability. Now, I'm going to show off first my tips for team building, and then next I'll go into tips for the actual battle itself. So as far as team building goes, On your main DPS unit, the unit you're controlling, for me, I was controlling Alphonse. You're going to want your main DPS unit to be Curse Res. It doesn't need to be, but it will help a lot because the event does inflict Curse, and Curse means you can't use your helper and you can't use any of your skills. So that's a pretty big downfall, and you also take damage. So pretty big downfall. You are going to want to run a Curse Res unit in your lead. Next up, you're going to want to bring as much DPS as possible on your lead. For me, since I'm running a sword, I was running the Shining Overload, which is amazing for swords against sword skill damage, and Dragon's Claws is very, very nice because you will be shapeshifting with your main unit. Unless you're bringing like a Phoenix heal or like a Cupid heal or something, you are going to want to do this. Again, bring as much strength as possible. For me, I decided to bring a Max and Bind Lindworm. This is the best dragon I had, as well as it's very easily obtainable because, Moonlight Stones in the gacha, is it Moonlight Sunlight? Whatever the one, the 4-star one is, are very easily obtainable. Again, strength plus 45%, very nice for your main unit. You do want your main unit to be mainly DPS. Again, if you played in the Fae event, you're going to have the Heroes Arrive Wormprint. You're going to have the Folkvanger as your weapon, which is, again, it's not the best weapon, but it's actually a pretty solid weapon. It's free as well. And you're probably going to have Alphonse as well, which are all really, really good for this event. So if you play during the Fae event, this should be easily enough clearable. Next up, you're going to want to bring, you don't need to bring Curse Res as your other units. I decided to bring Ryozan and Floor. I believe they're both Curse Res units. I know Ryozan is. Floor, is Floor Curse Res? Yeah, Floor is also Curse Res. So I do recommend you bring Curse Res units as your backups. However, you don't need to. It's not necessary, especially if you're bringing a Hildegard healer, but I'll talk about healers in a second. So I do recommend you bring healers. If you might actually need to bring 2 healers, depending on, if you're having trouble surviving, bring 2 healers. However, you do need to know that it is a pretty decent DPS check to get this clear. So if you're bringing 2 healers, you can actually afford to run more DPS prints as well as DPS, dragons. So that's the main thing. Of course, as for other dragons, I'm bringing High Jupiter, which is HP and strength plus 20% against survivability, as well as Halloween Silk, which is again HP and strength plus 20% survivability, and then finally Unicorn, which is HP plus 45. Again, I'm bringing Estelle rather than Hildegard just to showcase that you don't need a healer. Healers are just kind of, they're there to keep you alive, but you can actually bring a healer as your helper. Again, the helper is another big part. If you don't have a good healer, if you don't have a Hildegard or a Vixel or something, bring a healing helper, and that will actually help out a ton because that'll keep your team alive. And then you could bring, if you actually don't have trouble, surviving and you're having trouble dealing DPS, then bring an offensive helper, like an Annalie helper or something, depends on your team setup, of course. And of course, you bring an Annalie helper that will increase your energy levels. You can play around with energy using Vixel, Lucretia, whatever options you want, play around with energy. Again, Ryozan is nice for this team because he does actually bring a defense up buff with his skill. His skill 1 has a defense up buff, which again, the Heroes Arrive has healing double buff, so that increases, everyone's HP. By the double buff, so it's a very nice combo that you have there. I do have very good weapons on these units, so that is something to note. Of course, if you have better units than these, I recommend you bring those better units. Let's say you have an Albert on the team, but you don't have an Alphonse, bring Albert. Albert is a better unit. Granted, he does not have Curse Res, but Albert is a great unit. If you have Annalie, bring an Annalie. If you have Lucretia, bring Lucretia. There's a bunch of great Curse Res units out there, even non-Curse Res units. Might as well go over some of the other units that I think are very good for this. Julieta is a great unit because she has Slayer Strength. Of course, she is Poison Res, but if you have a Hildegard on your team, Hildegard can actually cleanse the Poison Res. So, or not the Poison, sorry, the Curse. So again, Slayer Strength is very good. She also has Last Recovery. Again, Hildegard is amazing for this event because her skill 1 cleanses Curse, which is, again, like I said, very, very convenient and very helpful. She also has Skill Prep and Curse Res herself, which is very, very good. Vixel is another solid option. His skill 1 has very solid healing on this, so Vixel is very, very good for this. He also has energy, like I said. So yeah, Vixel is also, like I said, a great healer if you don't have Hildegard. Maybe you don't feel like running a Cell or something. Also, Yache is a nice option, especially for her Blade Co ability. So these are just some of the other team options I recommend. As for worm prints, you can see I'm running some not so great worm prints. I'm running an HP thing, or not an HP thing, sorry, an EXP up right here, which is not recommended at all. I'm just trying to showcase that even without, great prints, if you have good enough teams, if you have good enough play, if you have good enough weapons, dragons, etc., you can get this clear. So if you're running, DPS prints instead, I recommend you run skill damage prints on most of your units. You can actually deal a lot more DPS. That's pretty much the only reason I struggle with DPS, because I'm not running any DPS prints on anyone except Alphonse. So as you can see, I'm running this print, which again is not super duper great. And then the Heroes Arrive just for survivability. So again, if you're running better prints, you will have a much better and much easier time getting this clear. Now then, let's actually hop into the video of my clear. So my clear was not as smooth as the clear that I showed earlier in this video. However, I do want to show off my normal clear. I say normal clear, in quotes, normal clear, and then as well as give out some tips for the battle itself and on each wave and what you should do. So wave 1, honestly, it's pretty easy wave. Just you take one side, the AI should take the other side, and that should get you the clear. Again, it's a nice idea to get your strength ups here if you're running the Heroes Arrive or any Slayer Strength print for that matter. For the rats, you do want to kind of take them out pretty quickly. If you get a little bit far from them, they will roll towards you, and that often ends up hitting you or the AI and deals a bunch of damage. As for the third wave, you want to kind of stack up the enemies so that you can take multiples of them out with your skill 1 or skill 2. I didn't do that so great against the goblins, but you know, in the first part of this wave, I did do that pretty well in my opinion. So that is something you want to do. Again, it's a very good idea for this quest. You want to stack up the enemies so that you can take out as many of them as possible with your skills. As for wave 4, you kind of just need to go around taking them all out. You could also stack them up, as you saw in the first clip in this video. You could stack them together and try to get the clear, not get the clear, but try to kill multiple enemies with your skills that way. I didn't do that for my clear just to show that you don't need to do that, but it is just something that will help you. It does save a lot of time. You can actually save your skills, save your HP, etc., etc. Again, use your helpers as you see fit. If you have an offensive helper, use it only during the Treant boss. I believe his name is Treant, the tree thing. Use your helper against the tree if you have an offensive one. However, if you're running a healing one, just use it whenever your team members are low on health. Yes, Estelle is usually the one who gets low on health first for me, so I use it whenever Estelle is low on HP. As for this boss, again, you just want to DPS the heck out of him. When he's in overdrive, if you're running a sword, you do want to force strike as much as possible so you can break him super fast. You can actually break him twice over the course of this battle very easily. Again, you don't need a deathless clear in this. I did get a deathless clear. You don't need to deathless clear it to get, it just gives you the more rewards for that. And I did want to show that a deathless clear is completely possible, even if you don't have good dragons or great adventurers or whatnot. So that is something to know. Again, I didn't mention Odetta, but Odetta does work very well for this fight as well. Odetta is great for DPS, so that's another great option you could use. She is poison res, I believe, just like Albert though. So that is actually all the tips I have for this video. Again, if you have any other tips, please let me know in the comment section down below. Help each other out, help me out, help everyone out. Personally, I didn't think this was too difficult. That's just because I've been playing for a very long time, so I didn't struggle with it too much. Something to note is if you do have a bunch of para-res units, depending on which para-res units you're running, you might want to pair them with, a certain unit. Like say you're running Summer Cleo and Floor. Depending on who you're controlling, you're going to want to pair with them rather than letting the other one para, So just something I thought I would mention. But yeah, that's pretty much all the tips I have, like I said. Again, let me know what you think. What Grand Bounty did you get? Personally, I hope they make these challenges a little more difficult in the future. I just felt like this was a little bit too easy. That may just be because I've been playing for a long time, but I don't know. That's just my thoughts on it. Again, thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any tips, leave them down below. I appreciate all the support. If you have any ideas for whatever that you want me to do or you want to talk about, you want to discuss, whatever the case may be, let me know in the comment section down below. Again, thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great day, and until next time, have a nice trip.